That was it, actually. Yeah, it was pretty good. PKN, episode 136. Kyle,
I like how you don't yell.
you guys
What?
are...
Is something wrong?
You were temporarily frozen for me, but not anymore, it seems.
I was saying I like how Kyle doesn't yell live anymore. It's just now. But anyway, Kyle, you were talking about the Senate thing right before we got going.
I was watching the Senate confirmation hearings for the Trump's Supreme Court Justice nominee. I'm really impressed with that guy, hearing him speak. He seems like a really intelligent guy, and I think I caught it at a good time to watch it today because I got to see the end of Ted Cruz talking to him, and Ted Cruz is really buttering him up and kissing his ass, and they're like, shit. He's like, some people around here would have you think that this organization that me and you are part of is some sort of secret organization, but a lot of us are part of it. It's a real cool gang, right, pal? And he's like, yeah, we're all friends here. And then Al Franken comes on, Al Franken is like stacking his papers in front of him, and he's not holding up a bit.
Al Franken is one of the best examiners in the Senate right now.
He's being real nasty, and he really doesn't seem to have much of a leg to stand on.
Apparently.
He made an ass out of Jeff Sessions, is who he made an ass out of, and that's
Gorsuch. I haven't watched the clip today, but apparently he was getting roasted on Twitter. Franken was, because Franken is a funny thing. He's a comedian with no experience or background in law. And he was questioning Gorsuch from a law perspective.
Yeah, he
like,
said
do you understand this? Or
what he said
you
was,
say it because you actually listened.
Yeah, what he was saying, what Franken was asking Gorsuch, however you pronounce the gentleman's name, he was asking him. There was this decision that was reached, I think, when he was on the 10th District Court or something like that had to do with a truck driver who felt he was wrongfully fired. And the ends and the particulars of it really aren't that important. But Franken was saying, hey, there's this thing in law that says that you look at precedent first, and that's your guiding thing, unless it ends up in an absurd outcome. And there's a name for that. Whenever there's an absurd outcome that might be reached, you look at other things. And Gorsuch is like, yeah, but not when blah, 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 legalese thing, precedent. He mentions like this legal law that's like named after a man's name, and Franken is like, the whatchamacallit? He's like, yeah, the whatchamacallit. That's what we use. And Franken gets out this like pamphlet that's like law for dummies, and he's like, well, this was published by the Notre Dame law professionals of the world, and I'm thinking like, this is the guy that like teaches law and is up to be the Supreme Court justice. He probably knows more about the law than Al Franken. Yeah, Al Franken made himself look like a bit of a dummy, but in that regard, I thought he was being really harsh about some stuff that didn't matter. But this is really boring in any case.
I didn't see that. I guess I've been reading a bunch of stuff that's been singing his praises as a examiner, and the fact that he fucked up Sessions and made him look like a traitor is sort of put a feather in his cap. Maybe he, overstepped his bounds today. It's hard to go up against whatever the guy's name is, Gorbachev or something. Yeah,
Gorsuch.
Real cool. I like that guy. Like I think if you watch him for a while,
he's only 49.
Yeah, he's a good-looking guy. He's very intelligent, and I thought that he handled that questioning masterfully.
Nobody seems to hate him either. Like 10 years ago when he was up for the 10th Circuit Court or whatever, not a single Republican or a single Democrat spoke out against him.
Franken kept trying to paint him as, a conservative, and he's going back 20 years or so. He's going back about 10 or so years or something like that. But Gorsuch kept saying, he's like, sir, 97% of my decisions on the 10th Court were unanimous. That meant that the liberal judge next to me agreed 97% of the time with what I did. And Frank is like, no. What was his name? Priebus. Reince Priebus said this about you. And he's like, I'm my own man. Reince Priebus doesn't speak for me. Like, I don't
this
know
is what I
Reince
do
Priebus
a lot.
said.
I put myself in the Republican shoes and ask, how would I respond to this, right? So as a Democrat, this Gorsuch seems good. Right? Everyone seems to like this pick. Trump is up there crowing. What do you think of this pick? Isn't it great? He doesn't seem like the guy that you go nuclear over, right? Because he's mostly agreeable. But the thing is, his situation is fucking very worthy of going nuclear over. One, Scalia died when Obama had 17 months left in office. Merrick Garland should be the next Supreme Court justice. Undeniable. There's no
Not
precedent
really.
for this
I mean,
bullshit.
the precedent was 2008 when the Democrats did the same thing.
2000.
It was 2008 when they didn't allow.
That's not true.
Named after the senator.
Yes,
It's named after the senator.
Tell me that there's a Supreme Court justice that Bush didn't get in because he died in 2008, and that it was 17 months to go. I look for it because I might be wrong. I've been wrong from time to time, but
No, this is a facts-based podcast.
Right? Yeah.
You have to make.
So when I looked, like no one had been held up this like 17 months. You have to stretch it. Like there was one maybe during like Nixon or Ford or something, but in that case, 3 different people had been voted down. It wasn't a refused to vote situation. To find a refused to vote situation, you have to go like before telephones were invented. We'll see if Taylor finds me off target on this, but to me, there's like an unprecedented problem. And another thing, if Hillary had won and she was under investigation by the FBI and the CIA and 17 other intelligence organizations for having colluded with the Russians, right? If that was like Chuck Schumer right now, who's biased and whatever, but this guy is saying, under these circumstances, we should be holding up the Supreme Court nomination. And he's putting the stain of Trump's Russian involvement on pretty much anything he's trying to pass. Because who knows, maybe a year from now, Trump is out. Trump and Pence could be out and Ryan could be in. I don't know. But that doesn't seem crazy to me. We might have President Ryan before his term is over, because if Trump is out, there's a very good chance that Pence is just as dirty. So
what's much more likely is that Pence goes down and Trump stays. I think maybe Trump takes the fall, Pence takes the fall for Trump in some regard.
No,
and Trump goes down, and Pence goes down and Trump stays.
The reason I don't see that happening is that I think Pence is more liked and respected by his peers. Like it would take people would have to turn on Pence, and I don't know.
We haven't even gotten anywhere near that though.
We're not there, no. But did you find the 2008 precedent, Taylor?
I'll have to keep looking for it because I'll be looking and I'm not going to talk.
It's named after a senator. But in any case, they did it.
That's a tricky thing. It's like, all right, this isn't the world you wish you lived in is not the world you live in. So what do you do from here? Do you just stomp your feet and pound your hands like a toddler, or do you get this guy Gorsuch maybe because he's actually not a bad pick? It's tough. But if you're a Democrat, it's like, you fucked me so hard.
They don't have a choice.
When the Republicans stomped their feet and pounded their hands and said, "I refuse to vote," I think
they have votes.
I think that should be illegal. I think that it's like, look, there's 3 branches. They do checks and balances. You can't just let one of them sort of run wild with it by not.
The checks and balances. It seems like the biggest overreach right now in the checks and balances system is the fact that judges are making overreaching decisions and acting more like legislators than like interpreters of the law, more like actually no, this is unconstitutional and whatnot. And that's not just people on the left, it's people on the right too, judges trying to shoehorn their way in and set policy. To talk about a negative thing with Trump right now, this Obamacare light nonsense that he is threatening Republican Congress members, like, you will lose your primary if you don't push this through. Fucking retarded. Like, it's unbelievable. It's how shitty and spineless.
It's not going to make it through the House.
This is the big thing.
It's not going through the House, so why would it matter? It's just busy work for our politicians to do for the next few months. It's not going to get passed. It can't make it through the House. It doesn't.
I don't want them to do what they're doing now, though, which is setting the bar low as shit. And then eventually when they make an even more kind of whittled down version of Obamacare, some people can go, well, we fought as best we could and we couldn't fully repeal it, blah, 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 blah. So we just made it, just as shitty and a little smaller. Like, it's frustrating to know that all the Republicans have to do, they control everything. They control most of the fucking state governorships.
They don't have a filibuster-proof majority in the Senate. That's
Okay.
why they can't. That's why they can't do what you want. So let me lay this out there. You probably know this already, but to win with a simple majority, they can only pass budget-based bills, right? So they were able to make changes to Obamacare, and it has to be budget neutral, by the way. So they were able to do like some tax cuts for the rich and then some benefit cuts for the poor, and that's what this is. It's not a healthcare bill. It's I guess redistributing the income back to those who earned it, if you want to put it that way. So it's tax cuts for the rich, it's benefit cuts for the poor, and they make this a budget bill. And because it's a budget bill, they can pass it with a simple majority.
They have to.
If they do some of the other things that you want, like a big thing is healthcare that goes across state lines, right? They would like,
Yes, we definitely want competition.
can't have that because then it's not a budget bill, and because it's not a budget bill, now all of a sudden the Democrats can filibuster it.
You need like 60 something votes too.
60,
like
exactly.
62, 60. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Republicans claim that, we're just going to do this in phases and we'll get this easy to pass shit done now. And then the rest of it's coming along.
Right.
And then I heard a Republican congressman today going like, this is like, and he said it, I wish I could remember the numbers. He's like, this is like 28% of our fucking economy. Do we really want to be doing it bumper car style, a little at a time, and then the rest comes through and hopefully it fucking works? This is trillions of dollars that we're talking about moving around over the next decade or so.
The reason we have this shitty compromise thing, Ryan care, Trump care, call it what you want it, and no one likes it, is because these are the parts you can do under reconciliation, which is a budget bill. The other stuff that would really make the changes that the Republicans want starts getting into like non-budget based things, and they can't have that. They would need a supermajority in the Senate, and they don't have it.
They can't have it without help from the other side. And so the interesting thing will be to see if that can get done, and especially amidst all the Russian stuff, which is what I think is the thing to look at, period. Because Trump care, whatever you want to call it, he doesn't like calling it Trump care, and I don't know that it's fair to call it Trump care. Trump care isn't going to make it through, especially not as it is. It's not going to make it through the House. It's not going to become law. One of my friends the other day was like, oh shit, I've got to like get my health care sorted right this second and get it overnighted to like the place where I'm getting my new health care, because Trump might, this Trump care might go in tomorrow. And if it goes in, then I'm fucked. And I'm just like, you think the federal government is going to put a new health care bill in this week? It's not going to happen this year, dude. No, it's just not going to happen. It's a non-issue. There's a big buzzing hive of bees in the Capitol building that isn't doing fucking shit. The Supreme Court justice is going to get nominated because they can't stop him, but Obamacare or Trump care is not going through, and Trump may go down before his presidency is through. That's the interesting stuff.
I really don't like what's happening with the whole intelligence community. It seems like this should be something that liberals and conservatives and Democrats, Republicans, everybody is like, whether or not a leak comes out of the intelligence community, CIA, FBI, and it benefits you or not, like you still need to take that fucking seriously and be like, hey, that means that there are at least some of these fucking people that will spitefully release pertinent information about American officials or American policy or American ops or whatever. Like that's fucking bad news to have an intelligence community that's leaking to anyone.
Which ones in particular? Because
yeah, go ahead.
The way I look at it is like some of the stuff that seems to be coming out of the White House in particular, those leaks, those are the ones that I see a lot. It's like, oh, we have a source in the White House who says X, Y, and Z. Yesterday, Trump was in high-level meetings, golfing. Like that's what those are the kind of stuff like that. When you get information out of the White House that Trump doesn't necessarily want getting out, like that a conversation with Australia went poorly or whatever it may be, the intelligence leaks, that's kind of a double-edged sword. Sometimes it's like, oh man, was our government doing something that no American would want it to be doing? Like, we all need to know about this so that people should be held accountable and our government should be ran in a way that we'd all be proud of. Like you see that and you're happy about that leak. And there are mechanisms within the intelligence communities and within the government for people to report things like that. But when those systems fail, there's nowhere else to go, and you end up with someone like Snowden, over there, God knows where.
I love leaks. And to my credit, I loved them when Obama was president too. So fucking leak away. And like recently it came out that Manafort, this is Trump's original campaign manager, Manafort took money from some Ukrainian organization that had ties to Moscow, right?
Yes.
And I'm like that.
Did he take money or did he facilitate a transaction? The water's a bit muddy, but yeah, it looks awful. It looks awful.
It really looks like that's where the fundraisings come from, right? He's getting cash from Russia to win his campaign.
I look.
No, there's no evidence of that. Is there? That he got money from Russia to fund his campaign?
I don't think that's it. When I hear about money coming, I think of much more nefarious sources for that money. I think of like bribes, payoffs, hush money, moving wheels that were rusty, things like that.
Well, don't quote me on that. I've been away from my keyboard too much lately. I'm not up to date.
We've all been experiencing real life too much.
Yeah, right. But
apparently
anyway,
it was Chuck Schumer in 2007 who 19 months before the next president, Obama, was inaugurated, he said that they would, quote, do everything he can to stop the nomination of Justice Pickering. We can do better.
Justice Pickering?
Justice Pickering.
Was Schumer again,
did we?
Oh, and then they moved on from Pickering, I guess, and Schumer again promised to make the nomination process difficult for President Bush over wait, let me make sure Carolyn Kuhl is who I'm inferring she is. But regardless, the leak thing, like,
it doesn't sound like they went 17 months by refusing to hold a vote. It's one thing to vote against them. It's another. That's the unprecedented part.
It's not really unprecedented, though, because the Congress, they don't have a responsibility that they have to do that. Like, it doesn't say you must do this.
I feel like that should be a thing. You know how you have a right to a speedy trial? Like, I feel like, if the president...
That doesn't happen. A speedy trial thing.
Not if you're in
not anymore.
Gitmo. But, yeah, if you're president, I feel like there should be a speedy vote on your Supreme Court nomination. Otherwise, they just get to, like, prevent you from nominating people, and it's his right to nominate people.
If the Democrats come back and conquer the Congress in 2018, and then at the end of Trump's term, if Ginsburg dies and the Democrats are able to control and say, nope, then they should be allowed to do that. That's they shouldn't have to sit there as Democrats and go, you know what? All of our Democrat voters, they want us to do everything we can to stop this Trump nomination. But, let's let him go. He's still the president, right? Like, people won't care that much. Like, that is their job at that point to say, no, I don't want to not lose my job. And so I am voting against that. Like, so I understand from both sides why they do that, because they're protecting their interests and doing what their constituency would want.
It's really tough for me. And I do my best to put myself in the other guy's shoes and see what's right. Like with the leaks, I've been consistent on the leaks. Leak away. I don't. If my government is doing shit that embarrasses them, then put some sunshine on that and maybe it'll disinfect it.
I disagree now. There's a difference between embarrassing them and embarrassing us.
I guess it depends on the leak, because like
if when we were spying on Angela Merkel and it came out, like I was okay with that. I just wish it hadn't came out.
This is the German thing? I didn't hear.
Yeah, we were spying on Angela Merkel.
Right. I'm on the same team there. Yep. Like it. I don't know. There are leaks that hurt America that are normal or whatever. Like that wasn't helpful. That wasn't good.
If it's a leak that says like, doubt that this senator is a pedophile and doing whatever, it's like, okay, that's a good leak to have, because then you catch a pedophile. But if there are people like that who are spitefully willing to leak things like that are not in regard to stuff like that, it's maybe a military secret or some operation we're running that really needs to be on the hush hush because we can't be talking about it. Like if there are people who would leak some stuff, there are people who would leak everything, and it's a little unsettling to be like, okay, there are clearly a bunch of people in this organization that hate current leadership enough that they may jeopardize truly vital information, not just, hey, Trump said shit on a bus, because like that's embarrassing, but it's not like
Trump really does have Russian ties, right? Trump has Russian ties. Trump Jr. said, hey, you know what? A disproportionate amount of our funding for our real estate business comes from Russia. And the reason is American banks stopped working with him after he declared bankruptcy. That's the truth. He said that public, it's 2008, I think, or something. Trump has a lot of loans from Russia. Manafort had all kinds of connections for Russia. Was it Flynn, right? Was a foreign agent, literally a fucking foreign agent. And he retroactively registered as a foreign agent after they ejected him as national.
Turkey.
Yeah. So, like, we've got bad stuff here that needs to be leaked, that should come out. And it seems like the Trump administration's response is, hey, you know what? Snitches get stitches. Stop ratting on us. You know, if I knock over a liquor store and kill some guy, the big offense here is not that someone snitched, but you know, that's where they seem to be.
But if you're a member of the CIA and it's high risk shit, I can understand, just like in the military, how it's a keep your fucking mouth shut thing, where it's like, hey, you can't just go tweeting about this next
it's
Marine
two different kinds of leaks,
Corps
though.
thing.
You know,
there's
the leak where you're exposing something bad, and there's the leak where you're opening your homeland up. You're making your homeland less defensible.
Yes.
You're putting us all at risk. It's one thing if you say, hey, the United States has this new stealth aircraft. It's completely invisible, but it destroys the ozone layer, and I'm leaking that. It's like, shut the fuck up.
Right.
You want to like there won't be the ozone doesn't matter if you're not an American. All right.
We have this new stealth aircraft, but I'll tell you what, we just can't stop getting it to emitter frequency, 444 gigahertz.
Yeah. Don't leak that either.
Yeah, keep that to yourself, right?
Don't make us a weakness. Don't make us weak. But on the other hand, like if something bad is going on that's reprehensible, expose that for the light of day. Which we are, you know, taking down democratically elected governments throughout the world via the CIA, then yeah, shine a little light on that. You know, all of the people who are like, oh my God, Vladimir Putin's the most evil man in the world. Can you believe he tried to influence our election? It's like, yeah, we did it like 70 times over the last 40 years. It's pretty common.
That's a good distinction.
Make a good thing or a bad thing. It's just a thing that gets done.
That's a good distinction of types of leaks, and you're
right.
Yeah.
And most of these leaks should be out there. Go on.
Let's talk about the best leaks. Are you familiar with Paige from the WWE? I think she's the women's champion or something. Very attractive girl. Apparently, a lot of her photos and videos were leaked out onto the internet 4 or 5 days ago. Real fiasco. And like there's a whole subreddit.
And you're staunchly against it now.
Absolutely.
Right?
There's a whole subreddit. You got to keep in mind that it's a very particular group who watches wrestling, right? Like, I don't want to like denigrate those people, but come on.
But you're already talking slower.
Be real careful not to offend you people who watch that shit. All right, like you're not as bad as some of those.
I like the highlights. I can't follow it week to week. It moves too slowly. Whatever.
No, it's absurd. It's a big soap opera with like guys putting each other around and women who aren't that scantily clad fighting each other. Well, she's apparently like a big heartthrob, and like all of these WWE fans have been masturbating over this girl for years, and like every time you see like a nipple peek out in the ring, and all of a sudden she's like fucking your butt with a dildo and having like a 3-way with 2 other wrestlers, fucking wrestlers in the locker room, like all kinds of very
good behavior
stuff.
Yeah.
It's
I want that leaked, and it did leak.
Though. I feel real bad for her, but I mean they're just all over the internet, and it was hard not to avoid seeing.
I thought I had seen all this, but I don't remember 3 ways in the locker room or anything.
Yeah, there's a black guy. He's a wrestler. So then last night there was wrestling happened. I don't know what channel, or there's like 2 or 3 organizations, but wrestling happened, and the black guy who's in the video is like they do one of those things where it's like an interview, and like you hype up WrestleMania or something or whatever the fuck's coming up next, the next fight, and it's 3 black guys, and the 2 on the side go, Johnny, anything you want to tell us about? Yeah, anything you want to tell us all about? And he's like, WrestleMania, it's coming up. I was like, that's hilarious, because in the video he's getting ridden by her while like another guy like films it while another guy films him. It's pretty intense.
So this was quite a production. It wasn't a cell phone production.
Yeah. There's many of the videos. You said the other day that Emma Watson had posed topless, and I assumed that she had posed like topless, but she posed for Vanity Fair in like this flowery thing where you can't see any nudity. Yeah, like in a shawl. Yeah, you can't see any nudity.
I could be wrong. They wrote that she was topless on the subreddit, and I was going. Okay.
She merely has a shawl.
It's not the same.
The poor woman's
She could be
cape.
totally topless, and there could be a digital black bar. That's not the same. I was under the impression that her boobs were out, and Kyle was really offended when I said naked. She just looked like a regular person, but that was my big takeaway from it. It's like, what do you know? Emma Watson, human.
That's what offended. None of it offended me. I just thought it was a bit offensive to be like, now that I've seen her naked, she's normalized in my eyes. She's not quite the she's not that up on a pedestal mythic thing.
A lot of people wrote comments on that,
totally
and they all said the same.
Like
they all were like, "Yeah, I'm totally with Woody." Everyone, like unanimously, they were like, "Yeah, something happens. Like you have a woman on a pedestal, or anybody, whatever, and then, like, I don't know. Somehow she just became a beautiful person, but back to human, I guess. You know, something more regular."
It's like I think I even used this example on the show. It's just like when you meet a professional athlete that you idolized, or an actor that you idolized, or some celebrity, and after walking away from it, you're like, man, I had built them up in my head to be such a titan of whatever industry or sport they're a member of, that walking away, you're like, huh, man, I set myself up for disappointment, because there's not a person on earth who's as good as I imagined fucking Martin Brodeur would be meeting or whatever.
Dude, I say I'm 6 foot, right? The truth is I'm close enough to 6 foot that if I wear sneakers, I actually am, right?
No one will call you on it. Yeah.
Yeah, no one calls me on it. Everyone does that little half inch, extra. A lot of people who met me are surprised I'm not taller. And in my head, that's just like, yeah, you've built me up into something better than I really am. You know, because they thought I'd be 6'3" or something. I'm not. Like 6 foot. With
then how do they
footwear.
Respond when you show them your naked photo shoot? they're even more.
They say, don't show these to my girlfriend. She'll never be satisfied by me.
These calves aren't quite as chiseled as the internet made me think.
See the definition.
Yeah.
You call that vascularity?
I don't care for vascular legs.
No, isn't that gross? Like whenever I don't like vascularity in general. Whenever I see that vein bulging out on somebody, I'm like, man, if we got in a fight, I'd cut that right away. Like like it was a knife fight. There's a good one. Fucking like I cut that right away.
Yeah, if a little bit of vascularity, like if you got a couple veins after a pump or something,
especially
like,
on the
feeling
bicep.
good, especially there. But then sometimes you see people with just oddly veiny hands, you know, where it's like, that's too much. That's a little too much. Like, gain 3 pounds, cut down 70% on the girth. Like when you look at the veins and it looks like a subway tunnel, and it's not just like a little bump, you know, where the vein is. I don't know. I don't care for that, especially on the legs. But you usually only see that with like bodybuilders and people who are
too much of anything is too
intense.
much. Yeah, too many muscle, not too many muscle, too large a muscle and such is too much too. But mostly when I see vascular guys and stuff, I used to think, oh my God, that's amazing. You know, I don't know if I'd want it, but I'm really impressed because I know that's hard to achieve. Now I tend to think like, is he on PEDs? Is he on some kind of performance enhancing drug? Because I guess it's the UFC thing. Like, everyone who looks really good is accused of being on PEDs. Like GSP, right? He was like the clean guy. GSP complained about performance enhancing drugs as loud as anybody next to Bisping. He would always be like, I want to do drug testing for this fight. Like, hey, competitor, would you be interested in joining me and doing this drug testing? But still, I look at that guy and I'm like, I don't know if he's natural. You know, like he might have leveled the playing field a bit. I don't know. So yeah, I can't see veins without thinking he's on something.
I like to give people the benefit of the doubt. Whenever I see an actor get big, I just assume that he's definitely on something. You know, I don't know what it is. I don't know what the cutting edge thing that you pay, you know, the way I picture it actually happening, and I think the more likely way that this sort of thing does happen is, like, let's say you're Hugh Jackman, you're about to play Logan in the next X-Men movie, and he's gotten bigger as those progress. Like, maybe Fox has a guy, you know, Fox Studios that makes the X-Men movies. Maybe they have a guy or a team of guys, or at least another organization that they utilize who's like, yeah, this is Brian. He comes in and he beefs up everybody for the Superman. He did Thor. He made Robert Downey Jr. even look muscular. So he's gonna get you ripped.
Bateman, right? Whoever.
I bet that's exactly what they do. Is they just have some specialist guy who's like, hey, I'm gonna come in and through hard work and a clean diet, we're going to get you looking great. And how much time do we have? 9 days. 9 days. Okay, we are going to need a lot more clean dieting from you. You know,
dude, I'm thinking hard about TRT. TRT is testosterone replacement therapy. It's basically roids. And what happened is
I'm already too stressed out all the goddamn time.
Dude, I went down you know how you get in like a YouTube rabbit hole, right? Where like I don't know, you watch a cello video and suddenly YouTube thinks you're really fucking into cellos, and you just like another one pops up, and so
happened with me with yodeling like 4 days ago.
Did it? Oh, that's awesome.
Yep.
Was it that Asian yodeling guy?
Yep, I watched the Asian yodeling guy. I watched a lot of yodeling videos. Yep.
He's yodeling since he was a kid. Like you go back, he's like old in the newest video, and then you go back in time. He's been yodeling since the 80s or something like that.
He's a master yodeler. Yep.
So I watched Matt Serra talk about his TRT, and dude, what happens is he's talking about his TRT experience, but he's talking about me, right? He's like, I quit fighting, and he's like, I started doing a little less. I'm like, well, maybe I'm just like a lazy guy, got a little heavier, whatever. And he's like, I get on TRT, I got energy all the time. I'm stronger, I'm better. He's like, I know I'm fat. Now, Matt Serra's not that fat. I've seen him with his shirt off. The problem is he's 5'6", and he can't gain a pound without it looking like he's tubby. But you look at him more objectively, and you're like, that's kind of just a guy built like a fire hydrant. And he's like, I know I'm fat, but God, like the way I eat, whole pizzas, pastas, I should be way fatter than this. And I'm like, man, and I start then I go down the YouTube rabbit hole.
What's the age that they like recommend you start doing it as like an adult?
I don't know that there is. I don't know the answer to that. Joe Rogan was talking about it. And so he's been on TRT for like 15 years now or something.
Yeah, look at his fucking head. It's HGH.
That's a whole different drug.
That might be HGH that does that.
Yeah,
but the testosterone, he seems to love that. He thinks it's the greatest. He's talking about the importance of having all of his levels checked. He's like, you got to get everything. You could be low on niacin. You got to take that shit seriously. But so yeah, they check you all the time and whatever. And these guys, obviously they're working out a lot, but like working out when you're like successful and having gains and have energy and stuff, it's not the same as dragging your tired ass to the gym against your own will. And I think that's what PEDS does. It turns it into like a thing where you're bouncing off the walls and you have energy. And I forget which one of them it was. It might have been Matt Serra. He's like, I like to keep my testosterone level around, like a 23-year-old. He's like, that's where I'm happy. Like, no shit. And someone asked him about his sex drive or his erections or something like that. And Matt Serra is hilarious because he's not shy about masturbating at all. And he's like, oh, let me tell you about my cock. I wake up in the morning, fucking thing, gigantic, hard as a rock, blue steel. And he's like, I got to take care of it right then just to do something about it. And he's like, average day. He's like, I jerk off like twice a day maybe and jump on my wife like 5 times a week, And I'm just like, damn, that's a hell of a schedule you're maintaining there. And that's like teenager Woody right there.
That's like a 20-hour work week.
They might want to cut that testosterone down a notch or two. That sounds a little fucking excessive.
If you watch,
he's like, well, I wake up and compulsively masturbate for an hour, then I start my day.
If you watch, what is his show with Dana White called?
Fighter and the Kid?
Nope. It's like to watch a fight, to catch a fight.
Oh, the one with Jim Norton?
That's the
Jim
podcast.
Norton, Matt Serra.
This is a Netflix special. It's Dana White and it's Matt Serra.
Looking for a fight.
Thank you. It's looking for nailed it. So if you watch Looking for a Fight, sometimes they'll be like, Matt won't leave his room. He's in there jerking off. It's not even a secret. Sometimes he yells through the door like, 5 more minutes. I'm still jerking off. Like he's not at all. He's like Jim Norton with the prostitutes, except he's solo. He's happy to talk about it. And anyway, they just go through the problems that they solved and where they are now with this TRT. And I'm like, damn, like this just seems wonderful. So I looked into the cost, and it's like $50 to $100 a month. And
all right, I'm going too.
like, you take that to the high end.
I'm not going to be the only one who's not on it. That's not fair.
Let's say it's $100 a month, and that's $1,200 a year. Now I'm going to downgrade it, but $1,000 a year for this? That's worth it.
Oh yeah,
right?
That's nothing.
Yeah, that's not much at all.
People are on Adderall for that much or something.
It's actually very cheap. It's like pennies, but like protein powder alone. Anything you do to like you could order those Tybo tapes and they would cost you that much.
Right?
$100 a month.
That's like a whole year of whey protein and pre-workout, right? That's about it.
Yeah.
If you say,
actually,
yeah.
It's
So
about that expensive,
there's a
yeah.
place in Raleigh. I have to look it up. I'll find the name immediately. Because
like a clinic?
one of the things that the pros I referred to, like Matt Sarah, Joe Rogan, maybe Dana White too, they were saying that you want to go to like someone who does this, like nearly like they need to be about TRT. Like, don't go to your family doctor and get some testosterone prescribed to you, because they might not know what to look for, warning signs, too much, too little, etc. He's like, you want to go to a TRT, a guy who has real expertise in it. And here it is. It's called the Raleigh Clinic for Men, and apparently they're all about like there's specialists there, and they talk about all the things they've tried. Like people take pills, 98% of it's not absorbed. This, that. They like to put a pellet in your butt or something else. And by the way, I was very concerned about the in your butt thing, but they mean in your butt cheek, not in the middle. So yeah.
And it probably actually forces you to work on your glutes because you're holding that pellet there all day.
Yeah. So
question: how do you think? Like, if we all, like, just hypothetical, funny, Woody decides I'm getting on T, and Kyle goes, I'm pulling the trigger, and I go, I don't want to be left out. I'm going to.
Mm-hmm.
How does this show begin to change, either quickly or slowly?
Lots of arguments. Lots of like red face screaming followed by sobbing.
I'm picturing.
You don't talk to me like that. You don't disparage my wife and my life like that. I'm so sorry.
Like Woody would be like just the peak.
To me,
Woody's 43. Like, you'd be right at your prime. You'd be like, I'm feeling good. I'm banging on all cylinders. What'd you guys get done today? And I'd be like, I yelled at birds for an hour. Like just whatever.
See, that's one thing. I don't want to be a dick on it. Like I'd rather be soft than an asshole. But my thought was porn talk every episode, girl talk every episode. Like I just like sexually rabid was my
sexually rabid.
Yeah.
Politics talk.
Results you'd like to see? Drop that line. I would like to become sexually rabid. Could you make that happen for me?
I want people around me to fear, so to speak, that my vitality might, swell over onto them. But
I remember I was in high school and I was walking behind the cute girl on the stairs, and I was looking at her ass. And I was like, oh my God, this is so perfect, what I'd love to be doing to it. And then it dawned on me, like, every girl in this school has a pussy. How amazing is that? Any one of them I'd be happy with right now. And, like, this is the thought process of, like, 16-year-old Woody.
Yeah, a 16-year-old man.
Yes.
I hope I don't... I need to ask for, like, can you make me 28 when I had some... It's like, when I could think about something else, some control, exactly. Yeah. 16-year-old Woody is too far. Just
tell the doctor, like, look, I got in a lot of trouble in my young years, so we don't want 23-year-old testosterone, Woody. Trust me. And neither does the state. I've been
Yeah.
If you could bump them up to 29-year-old Woody when I'd really reined it in a little bit, I think all my neighbors would appreciate it.
29-year-old Woody was a productive member of society. Let's do him. We like that guy.
It sounds really cool. I was talking about it just the other day to someone else. It sounds like magic in a bottle. And at $100 a month, if you'd said $500, I'd been like, is it worth it? I mean, that is a car payment, but man, if it makes you a whole new human being, I guess maybe.
What I said was 50 to 100. Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine if it's 50.
Yeah. Yeah, like maybe your nurse picks up half of this or something.
We'll see. So yeah,
I don't
thing
think
is,
you would get a Kyle, because it just seems like you're too young. Like you.
Well,
like, there's no way.
Like they're not they don't just top you off. Like they take a blood test and they'd be like, oh, you could use 0.8 milligrams of test. However they fucking.
I feel like Taylor's right. Like you guys probably have the T level that I'll get to. You're already there. You don't see a lot of 30. You're 30 even.
Yeah.
You don't see anyone doing TRT at 30. You're really talking about roids.
Mostly professional athletes.
Yeah. At this point, you're like.
Wait, what would Kyle and I have to do to get our level low enough, even for like a day, to just show up?
You want the answer?
Yeah.
It's alcohol. Alcohol does it. Alcohol lowers your testosterone level dramatically. You put on a real fucking bender the night before. Your testosterone level will be very low the next day.
You know what
But
else?
they'll probably detect that.
Nope.
You know what lowers T that's a thing from. So the reason I haven't already like made a call just to see where it goes is if you're not sleeping well, that hurts your T levels.
I read that as well. Yeah.
Did you? Yeah. So tomorrow
You
morning,
stay up all
actually.
night drinking.
Yeah, right. Yeah, double whammy.
I'm here for my extension or appointment. What are we? I don't know. Yeah.
Tomorrow morning, I get that. Everyone knows CPAP, but mine's actually a BPAP machine. It's like an advanced version, and we have hopes that is a game changer for me. So we'll see. Maybe I wake up with more tea and better rest, and I'm just pumping on all cylinders all the time.
Yeah.
You think dude, I wake up
it really interests me. I hope you do it, because I'm really interested in it too, and I would love to like get the ins and outs.
You're talking about the
wanted
TRT.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about the BPAP. I'm like, dude.
No, I sleep just fine. No snoring here. But like anytime that if you told me like, hey, we got this thing over here, it'll make you stronger. I'm like, well fucking how much?
Mm-hmm.
We got this other thing over here, it makes you faster. In what part of my day is being strong and fast important?
Sprinting groceries to the car.
Never it's like, oh, god damn. I can put a 36 pack of soda in each hand. All right. Like that's it, right? But still, it's a really attractive thing. I want it. I want the power, the literal power. That's what you're talking about. You're talking about becoming literally more powerful.
I imagine everything you pick up when you're on it being like when you just finished like lifting, like either working out or lifting something really heavy, like helping someone move, and then you like pick up a jug of milk, and you usually have to give it a little oomph because it's just yank it out of that thing, and you just like Excalibur. It's so light.
It seems
swinging
to eat
it around.
Yeah.
Oh.
So here, let me just.
We should all look
these
into
are the
it.
things that people with low T have, and one is loss of libido, sex drive. That's not really my issue, but I'll go down this list. Fatigue and decreased energy levels, muscle loss, reduced weight gain, erectile dysfunction. Again, I'm okay there. Memory loss, depression, sleep apnea, hair loss. I'm pretty good there too. And irritable male syndrome. I'm just thinking I fussed at my wife for fucking with my door, but it bothers me too much. I don't know.
That's IMS.
There are things in your
IMS.
life that maybe you're irrationally upset with. My daughter has. If you drive her car, the computer tells you how many miles are left on the tank, like 240 miles till empty or something, and you just like click it and like go around and set it again. It's not a big deal, but when that's not right, it bothers her more than it should. Like she's just crazy about that particular thing. She doesn't like it. This door, it doesn't, like, 99% of doors, if you shut them and they just lock. This one, you have to lift it a little. My wife can't get that. So she just shuts it repeatedly for like 30 seconds in a row, hoping that one of these times it'll start working. And I'm in here like talking to you guys and the door's opening and closing nonstop. And like the second she walked through the door and she knows I'm doing the show, it's just like, no. You had to come in now? Like you had to come in now? It's an hour-long show. You can't. And then, we're talking and it's just opening and I don't know if the mic's picking it up, but nonstop open, close.
No,
open,
it's
close.
not. But it's funny to me that there's a little thing that bothers you like that.
Yeah.
Where you're just like, oh, fucking hell. Because in your head, you're thinking that everybody's hearing like, an enormous like slam. And you're just, that's funny.
And I should fix the door. I'm bad at that. There's a couple things I suck at. And doors is probably top of the list in terms of like handyman things. I don't like it.
Like hanging them and making them swing true.
Yes, yeah, and then
oh my
making
god,
the hinges line up, and there's a door in the kitchen right now that like 2 inches along the bottom of it isn't sealed as well as it should be. I don't know if you've ever done weather stripping, but like you can't work on the bottom of the door because it's only like an inch off the ground. You can't hammer the tacks. You have to take the door off the hinges and work on it. And then if you just take a door off the hinges and put it back on, people might not know this, you don't necessarily get what you started with. You have to re-true it and everything. I don't know why.
There's a lot of stuff going on. Like if you want to take it up to the next level and become completely infuriated, try working on a car door. Because if a car door doesn't latch just right, then the part of it where that's nearest, say, the
damage
handle of the
itself.
car door, it damages itself. So if you open a door that isn't mounted right, then the part that's nearest the fender, that part that's supposed to swing in will hit the fender, and it's a freshly painted like vintage car, and they hit each other with so much torque because of it. It's at that angle, and the paint just crumbles off. It just breaks and peels and tears off, and you're like, okay, now I have to repaint the fender and the door and hope they match. I just made myself 40 hours of fucking work for mismounting a door. Hoods are worse.
I've never done it, but I used to watch TV shows about that, and yeah, I've seen it. I've seen the distraught responses to exactly what Kyle's talking about. Just people like, no. And they put it all together unpainted. Everything seems fine. And then they paint it and they do a final assembly, because I guess you have to take it apart to paint it properly. And you would think that since it worked unpainted, it would work painted, but that's not always the case. And it's awful.
It's real bad, because especially if it's a hood, because like sometimes the only way to find out it's not going to work is to make it not work. And like on the hood of a 55 Chevrolet, like each corner on the hood that's nearest the windshield are like these pointy, like they come down to points that like disappear down into a hole, and those fucking hit shit. And like I can't stand if something is scratched or fucked up. We repainted so many doors before. I was the sander.
You were the door sander?
I was the sander because I can't paint.
Was that the job they gave you to keep you busy, your dad, like keeping you involved, or did he need you sanding?
No, we restored a lot of cars, like through my childhood, and like
okay.
Yeah, like we were always working on something. We restored a few Camaros, 55 Chevrolets, 35 Ford slantback, bunch of stuff like that, and I was the sander.
Is that what you did most with your dad? Like your projects, mostly cars?
I don't know, a little bit of everything. But yeah, he likes to tinker on cars, and I like cars. So like that was something that we've always enjoyed doing together.
That's really cool. It's one of those cool things. It's almost like movie-esque, where it's like, oh, this is the fucking Mustang I'm restoring with my dad. I don't know why you're from New York in this.
Yeah.
But like I don't know. It's really cool. That was one of those things that, just like lots of things, I enjoyed just as much the fantasy of doing it as actually taking any initiative toward restoring a car. As I go like, man, how cool would that be if I drove around in a car that you restored and this and that? And then I realized, like, Taylor, you don't know how blinkers work. And I was like, you're right. I probably couldn't figure it out. Like,
you can though,
dude.
You can.
You can, but it's just awful. Like car? They make you get a fucking manual. Like we wired when we did that 55 Chevrolet, we put a fuel injected engine in it. So we took an LT1 Corvette engine and put it in there, and we had to install a whole new wiring harness. And harness is like this big around bundled cables that do everything. It's from the computer to like the fuel injection to the tail lights. Like everything is bundled through this thing, and it's one plug after another, and it's stringing that shit through a car that's not meant to be fuel injected.
Dude, it used to be like you needed a mentor and stuff. Now, like if you're smart and enthusiastic about something, the internet has your answer. I am confident if Taylor was properly motivated, I could drop like a 1973 Volkswagen Ghia in his garage, and he'd be like, well, I guess I got to put this together, and he'd do it. Like the answer is there somewhere. Assuming really that's even a car. I don't even know if they made Ghias in 73. But.
Yeah, it comes down to passion at this point. Really, you need to think about it. Like if you really love cars, that's what you'll do. Like there's no way I would have spent the countless hours looking up useless facts on magic cards and strategies if it was at all, like, it's not valuable for my life at all, ever. But it's super fun, and it's passionate, and I enjoy it, and so it's worth it. So just like the car thing, except girls aren't impressed by the magic aggregation collection nearly as much.
Most are not, I would imagine.
Yeah. They are. What do you think girls like that guys do? Like, I've heard girls are really
big money.
Yeah, there's obviously that. That's a thing, and I don't even know if that's bad, but
of course not.
They like handy guys. I think that's a thing, actually. Like, I think if you would describe a girl's fantasy man, of course he earns lots of money. He's also really good looking. He's built kind of like I don't know, a Brad Pitt or something. But I bet if he builds furnitures and fixes things around the house, that would be something Like they would love it if that's how he spent his spare time.
Yes.
I don't think they ever dream of a paramotorist. That's not.
No, well, but that's just
the
because
Nightwing had lots of groupies.
it's
Sell
it's
your
just
story.
so obscure they don't know to think of it. You're a trend. You're a first adopter. You know.
But like, I don't even think girls dream of hunters. I really think it like the handyman thing is like, I don't know, a guy in a tool belt fixing shit around the house is part of Perfect Man.
That makes sense.
I can do that.
I mean, someone to do things for you is a pretty attractive concept. She's like, not only does he do things for me, but he's good at it. Yeah, I don't have to do shit. He makes tons of money, and he fixes anything and everything I tell him to.
Yeah.
I love it. What's the like?
It's really just labor.
But he was
minimization.
5'9", so I had to pull a plug.
Did you see
Deal
the
breaker.
thing on Reddit today about Beauty and the Beast?
Yeah. Oh, you're 6'4". Well,
Yeah, I want to get it right.
What is it? What is the thing?
it's the Beast from Beauty and the Beast saying to Emma Watson, he's like, I'm 6'4" and I'm a hideous beast or whatever, and she's like,
Yeah, and he's like, I hold
6'4",
people
you
against
said.
the will, and I want to get it right.
Yeah, in prison for picking flowers or something.
Looking. Reddit search functionality. All this time, just
They've never taken a step forward.
they've never really. Search failed. Sorry,
You know
our
how many
machines
times
are
I've
under
tried
too
to
much
search-
load.
You know how many times I've tried to search something on Reddit? I think 3 times ever. And the first 2, I thought there must be a server problem. That can't be this bad. And then you realize, like, I'm better off just to sift through the annals of the internet on my own until I come across what I'm looking for than this goose chase,
The
which may
best
very
thing to do
well.
is Google it, honestly.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
The best thing is just to Google Reddit, Beauty and the Beast, and
Yeah,
go.
good call.
I've been playing a good bit of Magic Online.
How are you
Hard to
doing?
get English fit right though.
What'd you say? You
Your,
broke up for a sec.
Your audio and
I said I've been
video
playing
is
good
bad.
Magic Online, but it's hard to do anything with Chiz.
Hard to
is
do
it?
anything.
Why is it hard to do anything with Chiz? You have me curious. I can't even get the nonverbals because your video is sort of frozen.
Yeah.
But why is it hard to do things with Chiz? You're gonna have to say it.
Because it is an expensive deck.
Oh, he did. What did he do? How much did he spend? What did he do?
Well, I'm talking about the Tron lands. He bought the Tron lands, which are, I'm not going to go into explaining it, but a whole new way of playing the game in a sort. And I don't know, a bunch of his cards are like $2 or $3 a piece. Just real hard to do anything with this on a consistent basis. Just about anybody
the
else.
Tron Land thing was super unfair to do because it's like, oh, I didn't spend hardly any money on it. It's like, well, yeah, but you've bought lands that make all the shitty kind of artifacts that you get in your basic pack. Now they're viable and you can use them.
Oh, he doesn't play
now
any
it's
shitty
not-
artifacts.
Oh, he
Everything
bought
he's
actual
played-
artifacts.
Oh yeah, well he's got the Arm Coil guy, like that guy comes out, and then Ulamog comes out and makes you tap like 7 of your like he's casting like an
He
Ulamog
has
with a
Annihilator
merge.
6.
Yeah, Annihilator 6. Yeah, he's but Annihilator 6 at like turn 5 or something like
What
that,
a
and it's
dick. Pulled out like
Yes,
Terminator
yes.
2. And I tried to counter with my Predator, but Terminator beats Predator.
We all know how that one ends.
I made an Aura Swap deck though that I like a lot, so I could get like a 11 monster out on turn 3 if it goes perfectly, but turn 4 most of the time.
That's cool.
I've been having a lot of fun there. Yeah, you familiar with that mechanic, the Aura Swap mechanic?
Yeah, of course. I'm consistently
The
beating
wizard-
Chiz
So, all right.
with my
So you
Norse
put
deck.
out a one mana. You play a 1 mana hexproof creature, and then you attach an aura to it called it's called Arcane something or other. It's a 2-cost mana. But that mana for 3 mana
Arcanosaurus.
allows you to remove it and replace it with a mana with a aura in your hand. So you put an Eldrazi aura on it. It's like +10 later 2 for free on turn 3.
That's pretty handy. Is
Yeah.
that handing out against Chiz at all, or is his deck just too expensive to take on?
I have the most luck with Chiz with my bird deck. because it's got some land destruction. It's got sowing salt, and it's got boil, I think, which just destroys all lands. So it gets 3 or 4 land. His deck is blue Tron, so all of his lands are Tron except for blue. So I play boil. I play boil and destroy 3 or 4 islands at once if I can for 4 mana, and play sowing salt for 3 or 4 mana and eliminate all one of his Trons.
Yeah, that's really unfair to try and take on a Tron deck like that, especially if he has Wormcoil Engine. If he has Wormcoil Engine in there, that's the 6/6 lifelink death touch. When it dies, you get a 3/3 lifelink and a 3/3 death touch. That is not fair to bring into a.
Dude, it's such bullshit. Around. I hate it. I played my Dothraki against it. He used death touch. We managed to bring Carl back, but he wasn't the same. And the whole thing was fucked up.
He had a -1/-1 counter on him to persist that keyword. But
so we eventually, I killed him out on my own, and but now I've got dragons, and really no one fucks with me.
Sounds like your game's going well and ongoing, I guess.
Yes,
So Kyle, what
2 more seasons?
Are you resolved now to build a deck to beat his very good, or I guess more expensive deck, or are you just going to go, whole hog and buy your own expensive deck?
I've got like 5 or 6 at this point. I've got a really nice mill deck. I've got a nice burn deck. I've got a really good green ramp deck that ramps up to Eldrazi, and I've got that Aura Swap deck. It's just hard to deal with him in particular. He's good at the game and that Tron deck. I honestly don't like playing him very much at this point. I know his deck, every card in his deck. When I see it, I'm like, oh, here comes that guy. Oh, here comes
I'm getting most of what you're saying.
No, why doesn't Kyle get a Tron deck?
He could. It's just he'd have to spend money. Like
How
the point
much?
Was,
because it sounds like we're talking about $15.
No, the lands alone would be like $30, $34 for the land cards, and then I don't know. It's probably like $75 deck.
Yeah, the point is that now Chiz has introduced the incremental spending thing, which is once again exactly what I said would happen every single time. We brought this up beforehand. I said one of us is going to spend more money, and everybody's going to catch up, and then you're going to spend $7 more. Or $8 more than the person who did that, and they go, well, I got to catch up. Maybe I spend $20. I told you exactly how this was going to play out, and so I knew exactly what Chiz was going to do. But that's shitty. And Kyle wouldn't want to make a Tron deck, to answer your question, because it wouldn't be fun to play 2 very, very similar decks against each other like that. I wouldn't think. I think the variety, diversity is our strength, as I've heard on college campuses.
Around it. What I need to do is build a control deck. It needs to be a control deck with flyers or something. If I were just like countering every spell he casts when he starts casting his artifacts to dig through his library, or when he starts playing blue spells to draw cards, if I were just countering all of that, meanwhile putting out small flying creatures, you'd probably win.
Kyle, it's been a good 10 minutes now. Do you know why your internet connection might be so bad?
No.
Okay.
At least we got through most of the show without it fucking up,
Yeah, my internet's been bad recently. We had a really bad storm in the last couple of days. It's been not good.
What I would recommend to you, Kyle, for beating Chiz, don't make a blue control. Make a blue-green infect deck. It's going to be a lot of small, unblockable creatures, and you'll deal damage in the form of poison counters. And poison counters is a really fucking annoying thing that Magic added some years ago and then immediately got rid of in the following sets because it was so broken. So you can basically win by taking their life total from 20 by default down to 0, or by getting them to 10 poison counters. So you only need to get them to 10 poison counters, and if someone deals 1 damage directly to you and they have infect, then guess what? You get 1 poison counter. And so you basically just get a couple of unblighted agents or blighted agents, whatever, 1/1 unblockable infect blue 2 cost. You throw those down, and then on like turn 3, you just use a giant growth and a overrun or some fucking card and swing for like 8, and then just do whatever you want, and you deal damage in the form of poison counters, and it is a deck that wins. If your opponent doesn't know you're playing it, it will win almost every single game. And the game after that, they will say, I don't want to play anymore.
That's what I was just thinking the whole time you're talking. I'm like, dude, I should get into Magic, and I should get like a fan to work as my consultant and be like, look, ideally I win, but the primary objective here is to make people not want to play. That's really what I'm going for.
That's such a big mechanic in Magic. I played a guy, like, sometimes I lose, and I'm like, oh, that wasn't so bad. I lost, but hey, it was kind of close, or maybe I got blown out. You know, it gets over with. Every turn, they hit you, and you take damage, and then the next turn comes. There are some guys who don't even play cards. They don't play creature cards. They don't play any. They just put lots and lots of artifacts and enchantments that say things on them that happen to you. Like one of them will say that anytime you want to play a spell, it costs 2 more than normal. One will say that, you can untap 1 type of card on your next turn. And then one of their cards will say something like, whenever you get like 5 copies of this, you just fucking win. They'll have these win conditions that have nothing to do with how you thought the game was going to go down. They'll just make a bunch of artifacts or something and win. The whole while. I played a guy last night who had some kind of a card that every time he tapped his card, he got to look. He was getting to. We were playing with our decks, with our library's card up, and he was able to continually tap and like put a card from the top of mine and his into the graveyard until I had a land card, and then he would let me receive another land. Over like 9 turns in a row, I just got land played to me and couldn't do shit.
Yeah, the Magic is like, it's so unfair that everything is fair in a way. Yeah. Like there are so many unfair keywords. Like, have you come across Storm and Dredge are 2 keywords that ruin the fucking game. If someone says, "Oh, I'm going to play my Storm deck against you," say, "Let me see that real quick," and then go throw it in the garbage disposal and give them the finger and walk away, because Storm is not really. If I had an awesome Storm deck, I'd want to play it too. I literally had this happen. I know we're an hour in, but I want to wrap just like little quick Magic story. But so I was teaching new IRL friends Magic who wanted to learn more about it, and it's what happens every time you play Magic is you get everybody into it. I brought the same decks that I brought when I was teaching you to play, Kyle, and we played with those, and I brought a couple of my real constructed decks too. And I used my favorite, my green black Reanimator, and I only got to use it 1 game because it is so loopholey, and I'm actually gonna do this and that and this and that and like that SpongeBob episode where he's dancing around, but like just Grizzlebrand and fucking, Reaver Demon and all these awesome cards like turn whatever for free. And of course people are like, that's awesome. And in the next game they're like, you're not using that again, are you? Like you. Oh wait,
is Grizzleband that green creature that goes in the graveyard? You get to like bring it right back or whatever.
No, that is.
What is Grizzlebrand?
Grizzlebrand is a 7/7 8 cost black demon, lifelink, and pay 7 life to draw 7 cards, and flying.
Okay.
And he's just useful in those mill decks because you could draw up a ton of cards in your hand and of course discard whatever you want. But yeah. Anyway, I'm glad you're enjoying Magic, and it stinks that Chiz took that very, very shady route with you.
He only plays that deck. I never see his black life gain deck anymore. Like none of those other decks come back into play. I'll play 4 different decks and it's just Tron. It's real bad.
There's a counter to it though. I like to break out the poison one or something.
Dude, I've been reading. I'm trying to counter it. I've been trying to counter it for 4 days. I've been spending money to counter it. You buy. All right, well, give me $8 worth of those bullets. I'll shoot those bullets at him instead. Those will stick, and you get those $8 bullets. And he's like, "Aha! I bought a $2 bullet to counter all of your 8 bullets." It's like, damn it! What Taylor says is really accurate. It's an arms race.
I think
it really is.
The counter might be $455. Get a plane ticket, go over there, rough him up if he plays fucking Tron again.
That is, I doubt he will. But you can't even destroy the cards because they're digital.
No, but you can discourage the behavior. Oh.
Woody, Boxy, Kyle, you want to call it a wrap? Or I guess Pixely Kyle.
Yeah, more Pixely.
Kyle is my the fetish I developed in the 90s. Look at him with his mouth open like that.
I can't even tell.
To me, he was totally stuck in like a blowjob, and I'm just waiting for him to I don't know. He's pixelated. He's blowing. This is how I got off in the 90s.
No, for me, he's just a very
2400 baud Kyle. The nerd only jokes will get. Nerds will get. All right. PKN episode 136.